All right, so I've got it back together. Hardware is all back in and clean in the rear. So this go around I focused on installing this hinge and building a new wiring harness that goes essentially to some new sensors that I've added and rerouting some of the existing wiring. So the new setup leverages just the right side of the car for the 48 volt system. So Cascadia Motion mini module battery pack, which will show up this coming week, is going to be mounted back here behind this cubby. I'll probably have to cut a little bit out of the way. So 48 volt battery and BMS, and then the CAN bus communication to the two e-boosters. All this 48 volt logic and system will be on the right side. On the left side, everything else. So mainly this 0 to 5 volt sensors back here. So I've got a intake air temp sensor, so monitoring air temp of the air coming in the filter, going to the S400. I've got a T-map sensor at the S400 comp outlet, measuring pressure and temperature there. I've got a T-map sensor up there, so that's past the e-boosters, so I'll be able to both monitor pressure and temperature there as well. I've got a MAC valve which will mount underneath here that will be controlled for that will control boost control to the external wastegate that's down here. I've got a pressure sending unit that I added for the oil pressure going to the turbo. And then I'll go ahead and get underneath the car and just point out some of these guys. So there's the air temp sensor. Have this guy repowder coated. I also added this wastegate position sensor, so I'll have that data to play with. And then finished up the actual wiring to this guy. So that's this harness here. So it's not only monitoring the position of the blade, but also the motor control. What else? I think that's about it. Yep. So everything is nice and clean under here for the moment. I've got the turbine housing blanket removed for now, but I'll put that back on here in just a bit. And I don't think there's many more changes down below, with the exception of e-booster water cooling system. I'll have a small radiator mounted here with an aluminum housing and some, at least one if not two fans, electric fans. And that system will plumb in to these guys. So inlets and outlets will be running in parallel, so the e-boosters will get some water flowing through them using an electric pump. They won't have much cooling requirement, but the system is necessary just to keep those nice and happy. Outside of that, yeah, there's really not much more to go on here. So that new harness that I made all routes in through the chassis into this compartment here, and I will do another revision of what I have in here. So the next setup will be a 3D printed housing that supports, or that holds, the Arduino. It holds the H-bridge controller for the bypass valve, and then the components that are in here already. So this EGT Type K thermocouple controller, and this Innovate LC2 for the wideband sensor. So all those guys will be in this same spot. These DIL blocks modules will still be the fuses and relays for the circuits that I've added, and the Arduino Mega. So the nice part about all this is that all this wiring will come into here. The Arduino will process all the data or the inputs from the sensors. It'll also control the MAC valve for the boost control. It'll control the H-bridge controller, which will drive the bypass valve. And all of those operations will ultimately be commanded from a Teensy, which will be mounted at the front of the car. So the Arduino Mega will sit back here. It'll receive and send data via CAN bus. So just 2 wires will run from back here up to the front of the car, where the Teensy will be mounted. And that way, if I want to change any of the control logic, let's say boost control or valve control, that'll all be done at a single source, so single Teensy controller. And the Arduino will just listen to the commands that are coming from the Teensy, as well as sending out, broadcasting all of the data that it's interpreting from the sensor. So temperature, pressure, speed. I've got the turbo speed sensor in here, et cetera, et cetera. So Arduino will kind of be acting as a dumb unit back here. I'll have another Arduino up front acting as another dumb unit for the sensors up front. And then the Teensy will be kind of the master brain for the system. So open that up again. Everything, like I said, everything's nice and clean back here. It's all mounted nicely. So I got the exhaust tips. I had to make a small cut and re-weld of the left tip. But things are really nice and symmetrical. Maybe not the easiest to get the right view here. But definitely an improvement there. And yeah, I don't know. That's what's up. So excited. Woo-woo.